Hey guys, and welcome to the Good Bad Human. I am so excited because it is my first ever video podcast. I have been wanting to do this for such a long time, and I finally am doing it. We're here, and I'm so excited because as much as I love just listening to people's voices, I think it's always very humanizing when I'm able to put a face to a voice. And so honestly, I just wanted to be more vulnerable. Today's episode, there isn't a specific topic in mind. I wanted to put myself out there, and since my podcast is The Good Bad Human, I wanted to introduce you to the good bad human behind the podcast. My name is Nithya. I am 25 years old. I live in Chicago, and I have always loved to write since I was a young age. The funny thing is, when I was younger, public speaking or just speaking at all would actually be hard for me because I felt like when I wrote things down, a lot of how I felt was expressed really well, articulated really well, but all of a sudden when it came to expressing my thoughts by speaking, I would freeze up. I felt like I wouldn't be saying the right things, but that's changed a lot over the last, I would say like 5-6 years. I've been finding my voice more, and I think while writing is incredible at helping me articulate my thoughts and get really precise with the message I'm trying to say, I think speaking is a lot more raw, and it is a lot more vulnerable in a way, especially when I'm speaking like this without any concept of what I want to say, because it's more raw, it's imperfect, but it is coming out moment by moment in a more vulnerable way. So, yeah, it is great to meet you guys and to share a little bit about why I started this podcast. So, when I was younger, I would say I was very self-righteous. It's something that I've thankfully really grown out of a lot. But as a kid, I would have a very strong moral compass, a very stringent, I would say, sense of right or wrong. And the concepts of good and bad to me were very clear cut, very black and white. People were either acting good, they were acting bad. There was either a good way to do things or a bad way to do things. But the older I got, and the more I matured, I realized that all of us as human beings possess the capacity for both good and bad. Even the ones that seem the most good on the surface, or the people that seem the most violent, evil on the surface, all of us are capable of the other side of good and bad. So a part of my mission with this podcast is to really be honest and real about not just the good parts, like the great, shiny, incredible parts of being human, but the messier parts. And I think a lot of us skip nuance sometimes. I used to when I was younger. And so I want to bring the full picture of what it means to be a human being onto this podcast. So that is part of my mission. And yeah, I've always loved to use my words. I think language, especially when connected to the heart, can have such a great big impact on the world. And so I think it's my life purpose to use my language, but specifically from my heart. I don't just want to be saying words, but I want all of this love inside of me to really be transmitted and conveyed when I am out here doing these podcast episodes. And to share a little bit more with you. When I was younger, the things that would bring me the most joy was literally scrolling through like Hope Core videos and moments of kindness. Some of my idols are John Quinones from the show What Would You Do, which is a social experiment. Excuse me, sorry. I'm literally dying. But it's a social experiment show where strangers would get the opportunity to react to these different scenarios that were created to emulate a lot of problems in our society. And that show is so beautiful because, similar to the podcast, The Good Bad Human, it really showed such a diversity of reactions. And I thought, when I was younger, man, I would love to be doing something like this one day. So John Quinones, the lovely man that runs that show, big fan of him. Another of my idols, Steve Hartman from Steve Hartman on the Road. He was a news reporter that ran a little segment that basically just captured moments of kindness across the world. Some of my other idols, Princess Diana. She was just so lovely, but the thing that inspired me the most about her is that I think she stands for what I think is my motto in life, which is rebellious compassion. She was just groundbreaking in so many things. The way she shook hands with AIDS patients when there was so much stigma around it, the way the love that emanated for her, and the willingness she had to be rebellious and break the rules and not accept social norms, and she just had such a beautiful, compassionate heart. And so yeah, she was rebelliously compassionate. She's one of my idols, the queen of people's hearts, as people fondly say. And another one of my idols, Steve Irwin, actually. Incredible guy. Again, he's someone who I think really, there's a theme that I think emerges when I look across my idols, and they're people with a lot of heart, a lot of compassion, and I wouldn't say these are people that are out there doing flashy things. These are not people that are, it's not material. It's really about the simple little moments of being human and showing compassion to others and finding the humanity in people. I think that's what my mission and purpose is, to get across that every person, regardless of their complexity, is deserving of basic dignity and love and compassion without discrimination, regardless of their background, regardless of what they've done in life. And that can be a radical perspective, but I truly believe it. So yeah, those are some of my idols. Another couple of my idols are more recently Brad Yates. He is an EFT tapping practitioner. For those of you that don't know, I practice a modality called EFT tapping. It is the emotional freedom technique tapping, and it involves tapping on different acupuncture points in your body. It helps reduce stress, downregulate your amygdala, and rewire negative beliefs you might have. But Brad Yates, though, the reason he's my idol, again, is not because of how incredible his EFT scripts are, which they are, by the way. The man is low-key a genius, but it is because of his energy. He somehow manages to bring healing to people in such a lighthearted, human way that I think in of itself restores dignity to people. Because I think the kind of people that come to his videos are often working through some very deep stuff, right? And across all walks of life. There are actually CEOs that have tapped on his videos, and there are homeless people that have tapped on his videos. So a diversity of people, but all of them are working through some heavy stuff, right? So his simplicity, his energy of bringing in humor and lightness to something so heavy, again, is, I think, so inspiring to me and something I really look up to. So yeah, those are some of my idols, and I share that with you because I think it's so important for people to know how I'm connected to this, why this matters to me, because I really want to express the kind of devotion and love I have for doing this. And so yeah, I am so excited for this journey. I'm super pumped to release this tiny little bit different, but this tiny little podcast episode. Thank you to everyone that has been watching, I guess listening to my podcast episode so far. It truly means so much to me. Again, like, my mission with this is not just numbers. And I think sometimes if you want to have impact, obviously you want a bigger base of podcast followers. But a bigger part of my work on this podcast is that quality, and I want you to really feel like you were able to see yourself and relate and feel like you have permission to just be like a messy human being, and hopefully give yourself some compassion and self-forgiveness and self-love in the process. Because trust me, we all might look different, talk different, come from different backgrounds, but we are all exactly fundamentally the same, and none of us are more important or less important than each other. And yeah, it's my purpose to spread that message and spread it with love. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.